Welcome to Terrifying Tales, where we delve into the darkest corners of the unknown. Journey with us into the shadows, confronting the unseen. A tale that blurs the line of reality awaits. Fear lurks not in the dark, but in the minds once you step in. There's turning back, the only escape from the abyss through it. Let's begin, shall we? Have you ever felt a presence around you that you couldn't explain? An inexplicable unease had been my constant companion, a sensation akin to an itch you can't quite scratch. There were bizarre happenings, objects seeming to shift when I wasn't looking, and uncanny noises piercing the quiet of the night. Every incident, every shiver down my spine, fueled an escalating sense of dread. The tension was palpable, the suspense unbearable. Little did I know, this was only the beginning of my encounter with the unseen. One night, the unseen made its presence felt in a more tangible, terrifying way. That night, the blackened sky had swallowed up the day, leaving the world shrouded in darkness. I found myself lying in my bed, the comfort of the soft sheets offering no relief against the fear that gnawed at my insides. The night was oppressive, a heavy blanket of silence that stretched out endlessly. No chirping crickets, no rustle of leaves, not even the faint hum of the refrigerator. It was the silence of the grave. Tossing and turning, I tried in vain to chase away the unease, to fall into a dreamless slumber. But sleep, as elusive as a mirage, slipped through my fingers. My eyes, wide and alert, were drawn to the shadows that danced upon the walls. The room, once filled with fond memories and comforting familiarity, now felt foreign and hostile. Each corner, each crevice seemed to crawl with unseen horrors, every shadow a potential hiding place for the unknown. The air around me grew dense, almost suffocating. It hung heavily, pressing down on my chest, making each breath a laborious task. The once mundane objects, a chair, a lamp, a picture frame, on a menacing quality in the dim light. The soft hum of the fan overhead seemed to echo ominously, a chilling symphony composed of fear and uncertainty. Then a sensation washed over me, a cold dread that drained the warmth from my bones, leaving an icy chill in its wake. It crawled up my spine, making my skin prickle as if touched by frost. Unable to shake off the feeling, I sat up, my heart against my rib cage like a caged animal. The cold air seemed to gnaw at my skin, every hair standing on end, every nerve alive with fear. In the gloom, a shape began to form. A silhouette, barely discernible, stood at the foot of my bed. It seemed to swallow the scant moonlight filtering through the window, its form a black void against the paleness of the walls. It was humanoid in shape, resembling a man, yet there was something profoundly wrong. The proportions were distorted, the limbs elongated, twisted in ways that defied the natural order of things. My breath hitched as I stared at the figure, a primal fear spreading through my veins. It was a fear that was raw and unfiltered, a fear that was deeply ingrained within the human psyche. The fear of the unknown, the fear of the unseen. It was an encounter with the Shadow Man, a creature whispered about in hushed voices, the subject of childhood nightmares and eerie folklore. The sight Shadow Man was an affront to my senses. Its presence was an abomination, a creature that did not belong in this world. It was a grotesque mockery of human form, its twisted shape an unpalatable sight. My heartbeat thundered in my ears, a deafening rhythm that drowned out every other sound. I was paralyzed, frozen in a moment of absolute terror. It was slow, almost deliberate. It moved with an eerie grace, a predator closing in on its prey. The room seemed to shrink, the walls closing in, trapping me in with the creature. The air turned frigid, my breaths coming out in puffs of white. The fear was all-consuming, gnawing at my very being, leaving me helpless in its grip. I wanted to scream, to out for help, but fear had stolen my voice. My body refused to obey, held captive by the terror that held me in its icy grip. I could only watch, my eyes wide with terror, as the figure began to move, its form shifting and morphing with each passing second. Frozen in fear, I could only watch as the Shadow Man began to move. The room plunged into a bone-chilling cold as the Shadow Man advanced. An ethereal gust of glacial cold swept past, causing the feeble flame of a solitary candle on a worn-out table to flutter and twitch, battling bravely against the icy onslaught. The dim light, A single soldier against the frosty breath of the intruder threw wavering, distorted shadows on the peeling, forgotten wallpaper. The ancient wooden planks groaned beneath the oppressive weight of an unseen entity, their eerie creaking a haunting nocturne that echoed my escalating dread. A paralyzing terror engulfed me, a death grip on my heart. It was an emotion that seemed to burrow and root deep within me, an insidious fear that consumed my very core. It was more than just fear, it was a profound foreboding, a terrifying presage that promised nothing but impending doom. I could feel this dread like a freezing iron claw clutching my heart tighter at each passing moment. Everything around me blurred into obscurity as all my senses honed into the impending threat. The walls seemed to close in, their once comforting familiarity now morphing into chilling prison bars. Thump, 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 the frantic rhythm of my terrified heart echoed ominously in my ears. It was a deafening symphony of my forthcoming demise, a chilling testament to the horror I was living. I could feel my blood pulsating through my veins, a surging torrent propelled by raw terror. My body, frozen by fear, defied my desperate instinct to flee, to scream, to revolt. It was as if every fibre of my being had been frozen, replaced by a numbing paralysis. I was trapped within my own body, a helpless bystander to the unfolding nightmare. I strained against the invisible manacles that bound me, a futile fight that only fueled my terror. I yearched to run, to vanish, to somehow evade the impending doom, but my body defied me, remaining immobile. As the ominous entity drew closer, the world shrank, my existence reduced to this singular, spine-chilling instance. Time seemed to crawl, each moment elongating into a dread-filled eternity. I was ensnared in a nightmarish reality, a waking terror that defied logic and reason. I saw the darkness solidifying into a form, a towering, menacing figure, a phantom of shadows and fear. It moved deliberately, each motion calculated, a sinister ballet performed on the stage of pure terror. The darkness pulsed menacingly around the shadow man, an aura of pure malevolence. It seemed to feast on my fear, growing stronger and more corporeal with each passing second. He was a leech, a creature that subsisted on sheer terror, a demonic embodiment birthed from the darkest crevices of my subconscious. The distance between us shrank rapidly. Each step he took reverberated through the room like a death knell tolling. The dread-filled anticipation was excruciating, a torturous countdown to the inevitable. His cold, desolate aura reached out for me, a frigid touch that made my skin recoil. Just as its icy dark hand was about to make contact, everything descended into oblivion. The last thing I recall was an all-encompassing darkness, a void that swallowed everything, including my fear. All existence ceased to be, leaving behind only the shadow man and the relentless, malicious darkness. When I came to, the sun was up and the shadow man was gone. The aftermath left me in a haze of confusion and lingering dread. Though I've not seen him since that night, the terror remains. But every night when I close my eyes, I can't help but wonder, will the shadow man return? If you enjoyed this chilling tale, don't forget to subscribe, like and comment on the video. Your support helps us bring more terrifying tales to life. We'd love to hear your thoughts and theories about the Shadow Man in the comments below. Do you think he will return? Or was this encounter a one-time nightmare from the abyss? Stay tuned for more spine-chilling encounters from the abyss. Until next time, keep the lights on and remember, even in the shadows, you're never truly alone.